If you're running Facebook ads, stop overanalyzing. Most of the numbers you're looking at don't actually matter. Here's what you really need to focus on. Let's be real, Facebook Ads Manager can be overwhelming. You open it up and see a flood of numbers. Click-through rate, CPM, CPC, ROAS, conversion rate. Where do you even start? Here's the truth. Most small business owners waste time tracking the wrong numbers and miss the ones that actually drive results. If you're a small business owner running ads, you don't need to analyze everything. You just need to focus on a few key metrics that directly impact your bottom line. In this video, I'll break down the only ad metrics that matter to you, the ones that can help but aren't critical, and how to use this knowledge to make smarter decisions and improve your ads today. Let's get started. To understand the sea of metrics in Meta Ads Manager, we have to first understand the difference between primary and secondary metrics. For our purposes today, I'll be defining primary metrics as those metrics that directly impact your profitability as a business owner. These are the metrics that will tell you if your ads are wasting money or making money. At the end of the day, if these numbers are bad, your ads aren't working, period. At the same time, if these numbers are good, that means that your ads are winning. We're also going to go over secondary metrics, which for our purposes are defined as those metrics that will help you optimize your ads. These are defined as supporting metrics that help you optimize your ads, but that don't actually tie into your overall profitability. Most of the metrics you see on Ads Manager fall under this category. These help you troubleshoot issues and see what works, but don't directly tie into your overall success. For example, a high engagement rate like likes and comments doesn't necessarily mean that your ad is profitable. Bottom line, don't waste time optimizing for the wrong numbers. For most small business owners, the only two ad metrics you should be focusing are, depending on your business, return on ad spend and cost per conversion. Let's start with return on ad spend, or ROAS. This is the ultimate profitability metric if your goal is to optimize for sales or purchases. Meta will automatically calculate ROAS for you, but it is calculated by taking your overall revenue divided by your ad spend. It matters because it tells you if you're making money off of your ads. ROAS is really important for most small business owners because at the end of the day, you need your ad campaigns to be profitable. You need them to drive sales. So if you have two ads in the same ad set, one with a 4x ROAS and one with a 3x return on ad spend, you can confidently put more budget into ad one and could even decide to pause or stop ad two just based on the fact that ad one has a higher return on ad spend, regardless of what the other secondary metrics might look like. Similarly, if your ads are more focused on lead generation or completed registrations, then you're going to want to focus on the cost per conversion metric. This tracks the actual cost per lead, sale, or desired action, like completed registration. Here's why it matters. If your cost per conversion is too high, you're spending too much per result. If your cost per conversion is low, but your return on ad spend is poor, then the quality of your traffic is low. At the end of the day, your cost per conversion is telling you how much you're paying for each result. If it's too high, either your targeting or your offer might be off. Again, you can confidently determine which of your ads are performing best simply based on these two metrics. So if that's the case, why do we even track secondary metrics? Why does Meta Ads Manager have so many little columns? Because while these metrics don't directly determine the success of your ads, they do help us troubleshoot issues. One of the ways that we use these secondary metrics is to dig deeper on the ads that are working to see why they work and how we can recreate that in future campaigns. Again, this is how we can see why top performing ads are top performers and how we can recreate what works. So how do we use secondary metrics? I'm going to go over this later on in the video, but as a quick note, I would suggest that you spend more regular time focusing on your primary metrics, meaning that if you review your ads every day, I would focus that daily review on your primary metrics. Are your ads getting a return? How much is it costing you for each result? And then save reviewing secondary metrics for more infrequent reviews, possibly weekly, bi-weekly, every couple of days, depending on your business. Now, like I said before, secondary metrics aren't the key to success, but they do help you diagnose patterns so you can see what's working and how you can replicate it. This means that instead of obsessing over each individual number, you need to look at them in context to see how they all work together. I'm going to walk through a couple of common scenarios of secondary metrics and what patterns they might be telling us. You might have observed similar patterns in your own ads, and as you go and review moving forward, look for these patterns to give you action items of how you can improve your own ad performance. Scenario number one, you have a high click-through rate, CTR, but no conversions. What does this tell us? The high click-through rate tells us that your ad is grabbing attention, but something later down the line is stopping people from taking action. This could mean your landing page isn't converting, you're targeting the wrong audience, or your offer is not very strong. So here's how you could fix it. First, check your landing page. See if it's slow. Is it confusing? Does the wording match what was promised in the ad? Next, you might want to look at your audience targeting just to make sure that you're targeting people that might view your offer as relevant to them, or if you're targeting people that are not interested in what you have to offer. You could also test a stronger call to action, maybe include a guarantee, some kind of incentive to drive urgency, or simply a clearer next step of how to sign up. Scenario number 2, you might have high engagement, comments or likes, but low return on ad spend. This means that people are liking, commenting, and sharing your ads, but they're not buying. Again, this usually means you have an attention-grabbing hook, but a weak offer. A simple way to fix this is by adding social proof. Testimonials or guarantees go a long way. This may also mean a deeper fix is needed. You might have to refine your offer to make sure that what you're offering is actually solving a real relevant problem to the people you're getting your ads in front of. Scenario 3 is very common. You might have high frequency, increasing cost per click, and decreasing results. What does this tell us? Your audience has seen your ad too many times, which is decreasing its effectiveness. This is a sign of ad fatigue, or that your audience is tired of seeing the same thing. Simple way to fix it. Start by refreshing your creatives. Change up your visuals, messaging, or formats. You might want to try expanding your audience. If the same people are seeing your ad over and over again, you might want to try a broader or new audience segment. Scenario number 4 is interesting. What if you have a high cost per thousand impressions or CPM, but also a strong return on ad spend? What does this tell us? Now, this means it's costing you a lot to reach people, but your return is still strong, or your ad is still making money. Now, this is where it gets interesting. This is not necessarily inherently a bad thing. Higher CPMs just might mean you're in a more competitive niche. This is where you need to decide, is this a problem that I'm actually going to address and try to fix? Because at the end of the day, your return on ad spend is the most important metric. If your CPM is high, but your ROAS is also high and you are profitable, spend more time focusing on increasing your profit rather than just lowering your CPM. At the same time, you could also introduce new audience segments or try refreshing your ad creative just to see if you can find an ad that is easier to get in front of your audience. Because at the end of the day, a more engaging and relevant ad will lower your CPM. But remember, you're optimizing for return on ad spend, not just CPM or other secondary metrics. Now, finally, scenario 5, you might have a low click-through rate or CTR, but also have a high return on ad spend as well. What story does this tell us? Not a lot of people are clicking, but those that do are buying your product or service very efficiently. This means that while your ad is not getting mass appeal, it is attracting the right buyers well. At the end of the day, this may not actually be a problem. If your return on ad spend is strong, it actually just means that you have a highly efficient ad. This tells you that you might not have to fix anything. You might just need to start increasing your budget or expanding your audience to see if you can maintain profitability while scaling. The key takeaway from all these scenarios is that rather than viewing secondary metrics as indicators of success, focus on viewing them in context to look for patterns. See if you can identify what story those secondary metrics are telling you about your ads and how they're working or not. Again, they won't tell you if your ad is working, meaning driving sales or conversions, but they will tell you why your ad is working or not. Because click-through rate tells you if your ads are stopping the scroll, but conversions are telling you if people are actually buying. Engagement tells you if people like your ad, but return on ad spend tells you if it's profitable. It's important to look at the full picture, not just one number. That's how you make smart optimizations. So now that we know the difference between primary and secondary metrics and how to look at secondary metrics in context, here's how to apply this in your own ads to get results starting today. Step 1, make sure that it's easy for you to track your primary metrics in Ads Manager. If you didn't already know, you can customize the columns in Ads Manager as you look at your campaign metrics. Sort your ads by return on ad spend and cost per conversion first. You can also adjust the columns to remove any other metrics that are not relevant to you or your business to make sure that you are not distracted by any fluff. As you review your primary metrics, look for patterns. Try to identify which ads bring in the highest revenue for the lowest cost. And don't be afraid to put more budget behind the winners and pause or stop the slow movers. Step number 2, once you've identified which ads are winning and which ones aren't, you can diagnose issues or success using secondary metrics. This is where you can use the patterns that we talked about before to see why your ads are working or not. If you have a low click-through rate, your ad might not be engaging enough. Change your copy or your image. Do you have high engagement but low return on ad spend? Maybe try to add social proof or testimonials to strengthen your offer. And step 3, make small strategic adjustments. Now, is an essential word of caution here. Make sure that as you make adjustments to your campaign that they are done strategically. The biggest ad killing mistake, changing too many things at once. Remember, every time you edit your ad, Meta puts the ad back into the learning phase where it tries to review metrics and optimize to make sure that the ad is being placed in the optimum locations at the optimum time with the optimal budget. Essentially, every time you make edits and changes to your ads, you start over again. Now, this is normal and natural and needs to be a part of your process, but if you're making changes every single day to your ads, it's hard for your ads to actually optimize. As you're making adjustments, give your ads 3 to 5 days to optimize before you make any decisions. If you want to review your metrics daily, start by reviewing your primary metrics on a daily basis and leave your secondary metrics for longer time horizons, like bi-weekly or weekly. To summarize, check your primary metrics first, use secondary metrics for troubleshooting, and make small, strategic, data-driven changes. This will give your ads time to work and will help you identify what's working so you can recreate the winners. If you still have questions about running your metrics, you're not alone. The real key to running successful ads? Having the right support. Inside our free school group, Ecom Launch Lab, you'll get access to real-time feedback from your ads from a community of business owners who get it. Step-by-step breakdowns to help you fix what's not working. And a place to ask your questions and get expert insights. Join now through the link in the description. We'll see you there.